Good evening and happy Monday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Darrell Winninger from the Central Oregon Daily Weather Center, and we are starting off this first week of November under a whole lot of cloud cover with off and on showers. Now, this is just the beginning of an active weather pattern that will continue through most of this week. And what's happening is an atmospheric river is setting up, impacting the Pacific Northwest and bringing back-to-back systems right into our neck of the woods. So, a quick look outside, and we have a whole lot of cloud cover from Hoodoo at the top of Ed. Just looking out, you can see some low-level clouds out there, and from Bachelor, from the top of Outback looking out, you could also see a lot of low-level clouds out there as well. So some areas of fog are expected when we get some of these periods of clearing, but let's just look at a few of what's happening, a few things to really show what's happening. There is an atmospheric river, and today's showers are the beginning of an active weather pattern. It's going to be cool, gusty at times, and periods of clearing are expected. We already have a system pushing through, one just offshore, another one further out over the Pacific Ocean, and then another one further out past that. Now, a quick look at a few other things, and when it comes to winter storm impacts, they're going to be few and far between, mostly in the highest elevations of the Cascades and a little bit right around the Newberry Caldera, but not really impacting our roads. Weather alerts, not so much for the Tri-County area. There's a high wind warning to our south, a wind advisory through the Cascades. It goes until 10 a.m. tomorrow, and there's a coastal gale warning that's out there as well. Now, we are looking at some really strong winds, especially Wednesday, but as we go forward, the next couple of days, more precipitation is going to be on the way. So just a quick look at satellite and radar. This is where we're sitting right now. The first of those low pressures has already developed, and it is continuing to impact us. That cold front just offshore, on the back side of it, we will get some times of clearing. But ultimately, when we look at the infrared satellite imagery, this is infrared satellite with an enhancement that really pulls out those tall clouds. Notice these are moderate to high clouds, not really too bad. If you saw like a blanket of red, that's where we'd have some really tall clouds, such as just outside of Denver, continuing to go further to the east. But for us over the Pacific Northwest, it's mid to low level clouds. There is precipitation with it, and even when we look further out over the Pacific Ocean to our next system, that also isn't too intense. But with these back-to-back systems, we are looking at more and more precipitation. Definitely good for some lingering drought conditions, not good for the little bit of snowpack we still have through the Cascades, which is not much. And we need the rain. So bring it, but the problem is we're going to have these strong winds and the potential for some flash flooding, especially around some recent burn scars. And you keep getting this much rain back-to-back systems pushing through, and you could see some flash flooding in those areas. But it is something we're going to continue to track. When we look at the bigger picture and go even further out over the Pacific Ocean, there's a ridge of high pressure, but a couple more systems, and some of those are lining up to push into our neck of the woods. Meanwhile, water vapor, this helps us understand where there's some deep moisture over the region, and over the Pacific Northwest there is. But look at this trail of deep moisture coming right out into the Pacific Ocean. That is why we have this atmospheric river set up. We already have back-to-back systems expected to push through, another one out over the Pacific Ocean, another one forming towards the south of that, and so this is where we're looking at all this moisture coming into the region. Now, when it comes to this precipitation, we're not looking at much at all in the way of snow in the Cascades, definitely not in our lower elevations. But here's a look at a high-resolution forecast model, and it does show that we are expecting some back-to-back systems with more precipitation. But tonight, first we get some clearing, and then the next system rolls in, coming from the south to the north. Showers start to roll in late during the late AM hours tomorrow through the midday and into the afternoon. By the afternoon and evening, we're looking at widespread rain. That continuing into the evening hours, some in and out clouds Tuesday night going into Wednesday, and then even more precipitation Wednesday going into Thursday as another front rolls through the region. And ultimately, we are looking at the strongest winds starting Tuesday night going through Wednesday, and that's going to be the strongest of the systems that are expected to impact us. So right now, relative humidity humidity is moderate to high. Remember, this is all measured in percentages. But when we go ahead and just focus on some of those conditions we've had just in the last 24 hours, highs have been in the 50s and 60s with 48 degrees as a high in Sisters. Right now, we're in the 40s with some 50s on the map. So already getting pretty chilly, and altogether, we're running between 9 degrees warmer and 8 degrees cooler than it was just 24 hours ago. But look at this. Through tonight, it gets chilly. Not too bad. Definitely not to near and below freezing temperatures, but we are looking at 30s, and then by tomorrow back into the 50s. So not warming up too much, but when we go ahead and look at how these back-to-back systems are going to impact us, this atmospheric river of moisture, we are looking at showers on Tuesday, 50s and a few 40s expected, and another cooler air mass comes over the Pacific Northwest. By then, another trough is going to develop, a reinforcing cold front on the backside of Wednesday's cold front, and that just brings a little bit cooler air into play. And then by Thursday, another system, a fourth system, is going to be impacting us with more precipitation rolling into the high desert. So between now and Thursday, we're all getting wet. A little bit of snow in the mountains, and we'll talk about that here in the next couple of minutes, but it doesn't look like it's a whole lot of mountain snow. We're going to be going back and forth from rain to snow so much in the Cascades that we're really not looking at much at all accumulating. It's not until Friday and Saturday that we start to see some clearing, and the strongest winds, again, are going to be Tuesday night through Wednesday. So let's look at the traditional forecast model, the one that we have on air every night right here from the Central Oregon Daily Weather Center, and it does show those three back-to-back systems already developing, impacting the Pacific Northwest. So first cold front tonight, then some clearing, I should say this evening, then some clearing through the morning, and then Tuesday we start off with a warm front, and then a cold front pushes through. So that means more showers, some periods of clearing are expected, but these back-to-back fronts continue to impact us. Another one on Thursday will be rolling through, bringing even more precipitation. But when we look at the bigger picture, what happens past Thursday, we start to see a shift in the weather pattern. By Friday, partly cloudy, some in and out cover. By Saturday, more sunshine than clouds. And then by Sunday, we continue to get more sunshine than clouds with no precipitation. So this active pattern is going to be calming down, just not until we get to Friday and Saturday. So late this week going into the weekend. And then between now and 7 a.m. on Tuesday, most of us get wet. Notice there are some spots that just get a few sprinkles or maybe just not any rain at all. But by Tuesday, that's going to be changing. Wednesday at 11 p.m., we'll have started to see some of that snow in the Cascades, just not too much in the way of totals till you get to the highest elevations. Even by Thursday at 11 p.m., Sadie Pass, not too bad, just wet. Willamette Pass, not too bad. Maybe up to 2 inches at that point, but still not that bad at all until we get to Friday after this system is clearing out. That's when we have some impacts through the passes. And a couple other models show not much at all through Friday at 5 p.m. Now, when it comes to gusts, it has already been gusty for many of us for parts of the high desert today. Right here, right now, some of those gusts as high as 35 miles per hour in Sun River and as low as 7 miles per hour in Sisters and in Warm Springs. And when it comes to actual wind speeds, they're reflecting those gusts just much lower, so between 5 and 16 miles per hour across the high desert, but picking up. And through tonight, it's actually going to become breezy for many of us. But watch this. It stays breezy through Tuesday. From 12 a.m. to 12 a.m., winds mostly out of the south. By Wednesday, it just gets gusty on the high desert. Tuesday night and Wednesday is when that stronger system is going to be rolling through the high desert. So when it comes to our temperatures tonight, we're talking 30s. Couple spots could get down to near and below freezing, but not for everybody. By Tuesday, we're talking wet conditions, 50s, a few 40s possible, and then our 7-day planner shows 50s for most of us all the way through Friday. We get some of that clearing into the weekend. More in and out clouds are expected with a slight bump in temperatures through Monday, bringing us back to above average for this time of the year. But for most of this week, it's either near or below average for this time of the year, and winds are going to get gusty at times. So one more quick look at your headlines for this Monday, November the 3rd. It's going to be a wetter week ahead. Rain, cool conditions, and gusty winds are expected, and periods of clearing are in the forecast. And as of right now, for the Tri-County area and the Cascades of Central Oregon, we do not have any weather alerts. Here is what's on the map at the moment. And when it comes to what's happening satellite and radar, there are some showers that are still impacting us. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. Well, the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.